to We the People. I'm Dave Gallus, your host. And before we get started with our special guest, I want to talk to you about 3A Research here in Las Cruces. They're doing clinical studies for plaque psoriasis. They still have a few openings, and the producer will put the contact information on the screen, and you'll see it also at the break. So I just want to welcome my special guest, Meyer Stahl, pastor of New Mexico, Southern New Mexico Church of God. Now, Meyer, you've been my friend for a long time, and it's a pleasure to have you back on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm honored.
Well, we have a very interesting subject today, folks. It's George Washington's vision in Valley Forge. And I just came across this article. Meyer turned me onto it, and it's amazing what actually happened. So let's get started on the story.
Okay, fine.
Now, this following account of a vision supposedly received by George Washington while at Valley Forge. The earliest publication of this vision was in 1859 as it was related by an older soldier. The account here is reprinted from the U.S. War Veterans paper. It's called the National Tribune, December 1880. Now, Meyer, this was never confirmed as a true story. I wonder why that was.
Well, you see, George Washington had a problem. If he would have confirmed it, who would have believed it? And he didn't deny it, so that leaves credence to the fact that it happened. Right. It really happened.
I guess it would be like relating a story about a UFO. People aren't going to believe it.
Exactly.
So, but he didn't deny it, and that's a good thing. Good one. All right. So George Washington was a man of prayer. He went to the thicket many times. Now, this is related by the old soldier, the only person that knows about this story that was related. George Washington was a man of prayer. He went to the thicket many times to pray during the winter. His army was at Valley Forge. Now, you got to remember Valley Forge at that time, and the first photo that we have to bring up, it was devastating. Now, these soldiers, George Washington soldiers, they had no shoes. They were in summer uniforms. It was the dead of winter, so I can't even imagine what that must have been like. Talk about downhearted. And I don't think they've won many campaigns, or any, up till that point.
No, they were kicked out of Philadelphia. The British were in Philadelphia. They were warming themselves. They had plenty to eat, where the Continental Army was out there in Valley Forge starving, and They were dying.
So the British were sitting fat and happy, and our troops under Washington were freezing to death in Valley Forge.
Exactly.
All right. So, let's see. It was revealed to George Washington that three great perils would come upon the Republic, that's the United States. He was given to know that America was going through the first peril at the time, the Revolutionary War. The old soldier who told the story of the vision said that the nation would soon see an account verified by the second peril descending upon the land. The last time I ever saw Anthony Sherman, that's the old soldier, was on the 4th of July, 1859, in Independence Square. It's in Philadelphia. He was there 90 years old and becoming very feeble. But though so old, his eyes rekindled as he gazed upon Independence Hall, which he came to visit once more. Now, this is a quote. "Let's go into the hall," he said. "I want to tell you of an incident of Washington's life, one which no one alive knows except myself, and if you live, you will before long see it verified. Mark the prediction, you will see it verified." Now, this is the story. From the opening of the Revolution, we experienced all phases of fortune, now good and now ill, one time victorious and another conquered. The darkest period we had, I think, was when Washington, after several reverses, retreated to Valley Forge, like you spoke about, where he resolved to pass the winter of 1777. I have often seen the tears coursing down our dear commander's careworn cheeks as he would be conversing with a confidential officer about the condition of his poor soldiers. You have doubtless heard the story of Washington going to the thicket to pray. Now, there's a famous picture that my producer can bring up of George Washington on bended knee. Well, it was not only true, but he used often to pray secret for aid and comfort, and God brought us safely through the darkest days of the tribulation. One day, I remember it well, the chilly winds whistled through the leafless trees, though the sky was cloudless and the sun shone brightly. He remained in his quarters nearly all afternoon. When he came out, I noticed his face was a shade paler than usual and seemed to be something on his mind of more than ordinary importance. Returning after dusk, he dispatched an orderly to the quarters of an officer who was presently in attendance. After a preliminary conversation of about an hour and a half, Washington gazed upon his companion with a strange look of dignity which he alone could command, said to the latter, "I do not know whether it is owing to the anxiety of my mind," now this is Washington speaking, "owing to the anxiety of my mind, but this afternoon as I was sitting at this table engaged in preparing a dispatch, something in the apartment seemed to disturb me. Looking up, I beheld standing opposite me a singular, beautiful being." Now my producer has the picture of this angelic being. "So astonished was I, for I had given strict orders not to be disturbed, that it was some moments before I found the language to inquire the cause of the visit. A second, a third, and even a fourth time did I repeat my question, but received no answer from my mysterious visitor except a slight raising of the eyes. By this time I felt strange sensations spreading through me. I would have risen, but the riveted gaze of the being before me rendered vision impossible. I essayed once more to speak, but my tongue had become useless, as if paralyzed. A new influence, mysterious, potent, irresistible, took possession of me. All I could do was gaze steadily, vacantly, at my unknown visitor. Gradually, the surrounding atmosphere seemed to fill with sensations and grew luminous. Everything about me seemed rarefied, my mysterious visitor also becoming more airy and yet distinct to my sight than before. I began to feel as one dying, or rather to experience the sensations which I have sometimes imagined accompanying death. I did not think, I did not reason, I did not move. All were alike impossible. I was only conscious of gazing fixedly, vacantly at my companion. Presently I heard a voice say, quote, "Son of the Republic, look and learn," while at the same time my visitor extended an arm eastward. Now, eastward, I now beheld a heavy white vapor at some distance rising fold upon fold. This gradually dissipated, and I looked upon a strange scenes before me, laid spread out in one vast plain all the countries of the world, Europe, Asia, Africa, and America. I saw rolling and tossing between Europe and America the billows of the Atlantic, and between Asia and America lay the Pacific. And he said, "Son of Republic," said the same mysterious voice before, "Look and learn." So he's looking at the whole world in one flat
all
plane.
the continents, yeah.
Okay. At that moment, I beheld a dark, shadowy being like an angel, and we have a picture. Now, it's not the original picture. It's the artist rendition. Shadowy being like an angel standing, or rather floating in midair between Europe and America, dipping water out of the ocean in the hollow of each hand and sprinkling some on America with his right hand and some from his left over Europe. Immediately a cloud arose from these countries and joined in mid-ocean. For a while it remained stationary, and then it moved slowly westward until it enveloped America in its murky folds. Sharp flashes of lightning gleamed throughout its intervals, and I heard the smothered groans and cries of American people. Now, what does that sound like to you?
Well, it sounds like war. It sounds like we're being invaded.
By Britain, by Europe that was coming over. That, to me, that's the Revolutionary War that took place in America. Britain's coming in.
Yeah, well, they did. They did come in. So Washington was right at the very end, almost the very end of the war in Valley Forge. And Valley Forge was the low point of the war for Washington and his troops.
Right.
From then on in, they started to win.
And it said at that point, you've already experienced the first peril. Like you said, Washington was at the end of this when he was in Valley Forge. But then the next peril is going to come that's going to be a premonition, and it's going to be fulfilled. A second time, the angel dipped water from the ocean and sprinkled it out as before. The dark cloud was then drawn back to the ocean. in whose heaving billows it sank from view. So I guess that was America's winning the Revolutionary War.
Probably.
Okay. A third time, I heard the mysterious voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." I cast my eyes upon America and beheld villages and towns and cities springing up one after another until the whole land of the Atlantic to the Pacific was dotted with them. Now, wait a minute. There were none at that time.
There was nothing out west. Everything was out on the East Coast.
Right, the 13 colonies on the East Coast.
Yeah.
So
that was a vision he saw of the future.
Right. Again, I heard the mysterious voice say, quote, "Son of the Republic, the end of the century cometh, look and learn." And this time the dark, shadowy angel turned his face southward. From Africa, I saw an ill-omened specter approach the land. Now we have another picture, and I was thinking, well, what's this about? And I'm thinking, okay, this was slavery that came in from Africa to America. That was the plight.
Absolutely.
Well, we got to take a break, Meyer. I'm sorry, I'm doing all the talking here. I'm going to let you talk in the next segment.
Okay.
So, folks, stand by. We'll be back in a minute after the break, and we'll continue this wonderful story. Sorry, Meyer. Hi, folks. I'm Dave Gallus. This is your 3A Research Minute. We're here with CEO Michael Raucci of 3A Research here in Las Cruces. Michael, could you tell me the procedure of a trial?
Sure, Dave. A participant will come to our office to see if they qualify for a study. Once they qualify for a study, they'll be asked to do evaluations throughout the course of a 3-month period or longer, and they'll come in periodically to see their progress and make sure they're safe and they're okay.
Michael, could you tell us the location here in Las Cruces? Where is that?
We are located in the heart of Las Cruces, 530 North Telshore Boulevard, Suite B. We have 2 locations in El Paso, and we've done so well, we had to extend ourselves here to this great community. So far, Las Cruces has been very responsive, and we love Las Cruces, so excited to be here.
Thanks, Michael. I hope the folks take advantage of this opportunity. That's been your 3A Research Minute here in Las Cruces. See you next time.
If your loved one has passed away due to COVID-19, pay close attention to this message. You could be entitled to a death benefit of over $300,000. The U.S. government has set up a fund to pay families relief if they've lost a loved one due to COVID-19. The compensation includes a death benefit and lost wages benefit. Time is limited, so we urge you to make a free phone call right now. There's no cost to you for this claim. That's 866-372-3669.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Do you suffer from rashes, dryness, flakiness, and thickness to the skin? 3A Research is conducting a trial of an investigational drug on plaque psoriasis. Subjects must be 18 years of age or older. This is an 8-week study. We will compensate you for your time and travel up to $225.
Enrolling participants now in Las Cruces. Contact our office at 575-288-1646 or visit our Facebook page at 3A Research or our website 3asites.com.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
Hi folks, welcome back to We the People. I'm here with my special guest, Meyer Stahl, pastor of Southern New Mexico Church of God. Now, we were discussing the vision of George Washington in Valley Forge at the lowest point in George Washington's life and in the war, and we weren't sure we were going to win anything at that point against the British, but he's had this vision, and this angel visited him and was showing him the future vision. So we just got through the Revolutionary War. Now we're touching on the Civil War that was created because of slavery that came to America from Africa. So these angels that are appearing before Washington is showing him just what's going to happen. And the one thing that comes out as I'm reading this story is that the Civil War was brother against brother. We were pitted against each other over slavery, which had to be abolished, absolutely. But the point is that we have to work together against the common enemy.
Exactly.
And we did at that point. We were victorious at that point. So as we move forward, again, I heard the mysterious voice saying, "Son of the Republic, look and learn." At this, a dark, shadowy angel placed a trumpet in his mouth and blew 3 distinct blasts, and taking water from the ocean, he sprinkled it upon Europe, Asia, and Africa. Then my eyes beheld a fearful scene. From each of these continents arose a thick black cloud that were soon joined into one, and from them a dark red gleaming light shone. Now, dark red and black. Now, what could be the significance of that?
Well, red, like the red horse of the apocalypse. Let me read just a little bit here in Revelation chapter 6. "And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the 1/4 part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts of the earth." Well, we have approximately a little less than 8 billion people on this planet.
Right.
So if a 1/4 part is killed, that means we're talking about 2 billion people.
Right.
We're talking about nuclear war.
Yeah.
This is not conventional war. And let's just look at one more scripture in chapter 8.
So when they're
in
talking
chapter 9,
they're talking about the black and the red, and they're talking about Asia, Africa, and Europe all forming together. The black and the red, to me, it sounds like fascism and communism.
that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
It is fascism and it is communism.
Okay.
They're the two main enemies of
Freedom.
freedom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chapter 9, verse 18. "By these 3 was the 3rd part of man killed by the fire, by the smoke, and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths." There's 6 billion people left.
All right.
A 1/3 of these is 2 billion,
Right.
which leaves 4 billion.
That's
We
half
started
of the
out with
population.
8.
Yeah.
And we end up with 4. That's half of the population
Wow.
of the United States destroyed.
Wow. Wow. Well, now, continue on this. Now, this 3rd World War, it sounds like, is coming to America. And
Exactly.
it's forming in Europe, Asia, and Africa, and coming our way by land and sea. And it says, "As my ears listened to the thundering of the cannon, clashing of swords, and the shouts and the cries of millions in mortal combat, I again heard the mysterious voice saying, 'Son of the Republic, look and learn.' When the voice had ceased, the dark, shadowy angel placed his trumpet once more in his mouth and blew a long and fearful blast. Instantly, light as of 1,000 suns shone down from above and pierced and broke into fragments the dark cloud which enveloped America. At the same moment, the angel upon whose head still shone the word Union, and who bore our national flag, the American flag, in one hand and a sword in the other, descended from the heaven, attended by legions of white spirits. These immediately joined the inhabitants of America, who I perceived were well nigh overcome, but who immediately taking courage again, closed up and broke the broken ranks and renewed the battle. It sounds like God's intervening
God is
to
intervening.
save us again.
He's going to save us. So Valley Forge was an important spot where George Washington needed some encouragement. And he got that encouragement from these angels. And he was able to explain it to his men to keep his men going so they could eventually win the war. They were at that point the lowest point in the Revolutionary War at Valley Forge.
I don't think they won any significant battles at that point. They were in summer uniforms, barefoot, or very little clothing. They were freezing to death, like you said, while the enemy, the British were actually fat and happy and warm and taken care of. But this whole incident shows that George Washington was a man of prayer, a man of God, and he went to God, and God answered his prayers. And that also helped him bulk up his troops to stay in the fight, because I can't imagine staying in a battle like that.
Yeah, and the Valley Forge, when they sailed across the Delaware and to Trenton, on Christmas Eve, the Hessians were drunk, and they captured all of their cannon and their weapons and their ammunition, and then started to win every battle after that.
Right. Now the Hessians, I believe, were paid mercenaries.
They were.
And Germanic descent, I think it was, but
Yes.
They were mercenaries. And they were taken by surprise because they were partying on Christmas Day. Now for Christmas Eve, I'm sorry. And for George Washington to cross the Delaware, which was packed with ice, they moved through that in their summer clothes. That must have been a heck of a rally that he got together, but I'm sure God's hand was in this, moving them across. Amazing. Now, so this prophecy happened some time ago, but it was never really proven or even exposed. Until I read this, I never heard this story.
I never heard it either until I read it. I read it in the Epoch News, and it was in the Epoch Times on November 18th to the 24th in 2020. And I read the story. It's amazing.
Wow. Well, let's see. Then once more I beheld the village, towns, and cities springing up where I had seen them before, while the bright angel, planting the azure standard he had brought in the midst of them, cried with a loud voice, quote, "While the stars remain and the heavens send down dew upon the earth, so long shall the union last." That's America. And taking from his brow the crown on which blazoned the word Union, he placed it upon the standard, while the people, kneeling down, said, Amen. The scene instantly began to fade and dissolve, and as I last saw nothing but the rising, curling vapor that I had first beheld. This also disappeared, and I found myself once more gazing upon the mysterious visitor, who in the same voice I had heard before say, "Son of the Republic, what you have seen is thus interpreted. 3 great perils will come upon the Republic. The most fearful for her is the third." That's what we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
But the whole world united. Now you have a book about the Third World War.
I have a book about World War III, which was written several years ago, which I'm updating now.
This is your book that you wrote.
This is my book that I wrote, and I'm updating this book because prophecies are starting to be fulfilled now that we just talked about in the book. They're being fulfilled now.
It sure seems like we're in bad times right now, and it's a great time to turn to God and to pray.
We need God in our lives. Every one of you out there needs God in his life.
You're doing a fine job, and could you tell us more about, you have a radio broadcast as well. So could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, we just started broadcasting on Albuquerque Station 1000 on Sunday at 12:30, and we're on 7:30 in the morning on Tucson, Arizona, 7:30 in the morning, we have a new program there. And we have our program here at 12:30 on the Las Cruces channel, 12:30 on Sunday.
10:30?
10:30 on Sunday.
10:30.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's good to get the word out, and we certainly need to do that. I feel as though that probably the biggest reason why we're in trouble in this country is because we've thrown God out. We've taken him out of politics, we've taken him out of our government, we've taken him out of our schools. We need him back big time.
And there's a lot of sin here in this country that we need to repent of.
No, I hear you, Meyer. I didn't realize how religious or spiritual George Washington was, but I can't imagine. This is a man that did not want to be king, yet they wanted to make him king. He was humble in his heart, but he was an excellent leader, obviously, after seeing what happened in Valley Forge. I can't imagine a man to have that, keep that momentum going and keep his troops at the battle.
Yeah, well, he was called Son of the Republic. God wanted this nation to be a republic. And this republic has lasted all these years longer than any other government on this earth.
Yes, throughout history.
Throughout history.
And you know, our founding fathers actually would read up on the past successful governments, Greece, Rome, and how long they lasted. But they also found out what didn't work. Democracy did not work. A representative republic obviously does work because we are the greatest country in the world. So, well, Meyer, I think that's about it for today's show. I really appreciate your being here and helping us sort this out and talk about one of our greatest founding fathers.
I appreciate coming. It's been such an honor to be here today.
Well, we'll have you back again.
Okay.
And we look forward to your new version of your book.
Okay, it'll be coming out soon.
World War III, Meyer Stahl. We'll see you next week, folks.